Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. Your host, Dan DeWitt, coming at you as always. Long time off from the podcast, it seems like, at least for in season. I know off season we do once a month, but in season it seemed like a long time since I've been on here. Long time since we had a game from UNCW to Gonzaga, 10 days or whatever it was. But a huge game, obviously. We know number 4, they had lost to Tennessee previous week. So Gonzaga coming off a loss, losing their number 1 ranking overall, number 4 coming into Chapel Hill. Should have been a big-time game. We'll get into that game. We'll preview the CBS Sports Classic against Kentucky coming up this Saturday. And that's really all we got to look at. So we're going to dive in and get right to it. And probably have not quite as long of a podcast. Still should be a little bit of length to it. A lot to discuss. Big games right in the middle of a couple of big games here. So yeah, we're going to jump into it. Thanks for listening, joining, all that. Make sure you're subscribed and share it with anybody that you can. But definitely appreciate the support you guys have. And big time win for the Tar Heels. So let's jump in and talk about it. Like I said, Gonzaga coming in, ranked number 4 into Chapel Hill. Finals just done, so students could leave, but rocking crowd in the Dean Smith Center on Roy Williams Court for this one. Of course, we kind of knew that coming in with the big time matchup and all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of fun. Wasn't an experience I wanted because I was in a hotel room with 4 little kids, and that's not the way to give your undivided attention to a TV screen with that many kids and people that aren't interested in whether you can hear or see or anything like that. So not the experience I wanted, but big time for the Tar Heels. I did catch most of the game. I rewatched the first half, probably more rewatched the second half, but good win for the Heels, 103-90. I can't really say a blowout, but I mean, we were in control. We were ahead by double digits most of the game. I think I started watching about 5 minutes into the game. We were ahead by 5, I think 17-12. Quickly got it up to double digits, and most of the first half after that, anyway, after the first 8 minutes or so, we were up double digits, up 14 at halftime, 53-39. Like I said, most of the second half, I think they said 3 times they got it down to 8 points, but never any closer than that in the second half, and just kind of in control. We just kept unplugging, kept answering, and I tweeted out as well, we got to answer their punches here, and we did. We kept, they'd get it down, and we'd knock down a big-time shot. Luke had a big one in the second half. Cam Johnson knocked down a big one in the second half, when they got it down to 8. So, huge win for the Tar Heels, and, convincingly. It wasn't the barn burner that Gonzaga lost to Tennessee. It wasn't the close, where Duke came back and made it really, really close in a good game against Gonzaga there. We were in control, and we took care of business, which was good to see for the Tar Heels. Stat-wise, as far as teams go, let's see here. Really, the story of this game came down to rebounds and turnovers. So first, the bad for us, we had 23 turnovers, way too many. I know it's a high-possession game. Both teams were running a little bit. Mark Fewen said in the pregame that he kind of took a lot from Roy Williams, especially early in his career, but it might have taken a lot from Roy Williams' system and stuff. And maybe that's why we match up better with them, because, coming into it, I was not positive, very positive about it and our chances and stuff. If you listen to the last podcast, I just didn't think it was a good matchup. They had bigger, more athletic bigs than us. Their guards were experienced and all that. So obviously the one thing we had going for us going into it was we were at home and we'd have a good crowd. But so even with the high possession, 23 turnovers, way too many. All the guys talked about in the post game, we can't have that. Plus, not only we had 23 turnovers, but a lot of them were live ball turnovers. They went down, especially in the first half, and got easy layups off of it, stuff we can't even defend or get the ball back or anything like that. And so, they shot. Let's see, first half they shot. Actually, it was not even that bad. They shot 45% in the first half, 56 in the second. So that's not as bad as I thought it would be, but. It hurts our defensive efficiency. I thought our defense was better than in the past. I know we'd been kind of a theme of, hey, we got to watch the defense here. But our defense was better. It just wasn't that good either. They missed some open shots throughout the game. And it did hurt our defense that they got steals and layups off of it and easy buckets off of it. They scored 29 points off of turnovers. So that's the first part of it. Obviously, when we have 23 turnovers, you wouldn't expect, especially that we win the way we did. But then rebounds, we had 14 offensive rebounds. They had 16 defensive rebounds. So we almost had as many rebounds on their side of their defensive side of the court as they did. They had 21 rebounds overall. We had 42. So we doubled them up in the rebounds. Like I said, 14 offensive rebounds. And then if you've heard anybody talk about this game, kind of stat of the game, points off of the offensive rebounds. We had 27 points off of offensive rebounds to their 0. So yeah, obviously when they only have 5, they don't have as many chances. But to not let them score any second chance points, and we get 27 of them, it's huge. We had, like I said, 14 offensive rebounds. So we scored on pretty much every one of them. Now, obviously, there's some we didn't, and we probably hit some threes or whatever. But the way it comes out is pretty much every offensive rebound we scored on. So stat of the game right there for sure. As far as plays, we had several guys, and I said, we need several guys to play well. We had a lot of guys play maybe their best game of the year. Luke, 20 and 16. Really, 7 for 7 from the free throw line. Remember when we said that Luke struggles from the free throw line? Big time game for him, 20 and 16. Probably not as good a game as he had sometimes last year. He'd go for 30 and 15 or something like that. But probably his best game and the closest he's looked to kind of Luke of last year so far this year. Cam Johnson led us, 25 points, 8 for 12 shooting, 6 for 8 from 3. It just he had one, from like 5 feet behind the 3-point line in the second half with the shot clock running down. He just throws it up and it went in. Of course, he checked right after that and shot a little bit deeper one, even that without the shot clock running down, and missed that one. But 25 points for him, just huge. Really some big time shots. Garrison Brooks, even 9 points, 9 rebounds. Big time for him to give us that, and some good defense inside on Clark. Had a couple of good blocks. Let's see here. Kenny Williams, probably one guy didn't have, a great game. Obviously, we know what he adds defensively, hustle, leadership, that kind of stuff. But 9 points for him, 3 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 4 assists, 4 turnovers. So that's not impressive. But again, we know what he added there. And then Kobe White, 15 points, 6 assists. He did have 5 turnovers. Didn't shoot the ball great. Still ended up 3 for 7 from the 3-point line. But the kind of to add with Kobe is Seventh Woods. Had the game of his career so far, 14 points, career high, and just was aggressive. 6 for 9 shooting overall, 2 for 2. I mean, when's the last time you heard Seventh Woods shooting 9 shots, period? But 2 for 2 from 3 as well. Added 4 rebounds. He had 1 assist to 3 turnovers, so obviously not happy with that. And it goes back to the whole 23 turnovers as a team. But had the last 6 points of the first half for us and pushed that lead up. I think it maybe had gotten down into double digits, 9 or so. And he pushed it up to 14 and a half. Again, just being aggressive, some nice layups. He had 2 nice layups in a row, and added with kind of a mid-range jumper floater thing at the buzzer to put us up 14. But 14 points for Seventh Woods. So think about this: our point guards gave us 29 points. Let's see, 5 3-pointers, 7 assists, couple of steals, 5 rebounds. I think I said, and really 2 fouls from them as well. So that obviously adds into it. So big time from our point guard. Again, and somebody has said this, but if we can get that Seventh Woods every game, that Garrison Brooks every game, that Luke May every game, that Cam Johnson, probably can't get that every game, but close to that, or him and Kenny kind of average out there. If we can get that every game, we're going to be really tough. And then if Nasir Little keeps progressing, hopefully he does as well. But then, yeah, we're really, really tough to beat. But yeah, speaking of Nasir Little, gave us 7 points, 3 rebounds, a couple of turnovers, a steal. Still played 21 minutes. So again, we look at those 21 minutes. It's right up there with the starter. So, but still doesn't look comfortable in our offense. Does look kind of lost on defense at times. And people have been talking too about the big bench for Roy Williams. Well, we basically played 8 guys in this game. We had Sterling Manley play 11 minutes, so he's kind of the, give Luke a break, come in for Garrison Brooks. And then Nasir Little played 21 minutes. He's been playing a little bit more 4 there, pushing Luke to the 5, a little bit on the wing. And then, so our wing, he's kind of our wing substitute there, as well as playing some of the 4. And then we had Seventh Woods, coming in for Kobe, playing some point guard. So we had a point guard substitute, a wing substitute, and a big man substitute. That's really all we played. Other than that, Leaky and B-Rob both played 3 minutes. Playtech played 2 minutes, and then guys with 1 minute. So again, Leaky had a great play when he came in, got a steal, got a breakaway dunk, gave us 2 points, but pretty much, I guess gave us a rebound here too. But that's pretty much all he did. Again, 3 minutes. That's pretty much garbage minutes there. So down to 8 guys playing pretty much, and I don't know. Obviously I think B-Rob could play a little bit more in that. And Roy said in the post game too, he wished that he would have gotten B-Rob and Leaky a couple more minutes there. But that's really what we're looking at, is those 8 guys, and then Leaky and Brandon give us 5 minutes, 6 minutes each game. That's about what we're going to get. As far as Gonzaga, again, our defense was pretty good. We still had Perkins with 20, made 5 threes. Norvell for them is actually the more guy. I was worried just from 3, only had 2. He was 2 for 8, but still ended up with 21 points. We held Rui Hachimura 5 for 14 shooting overall. He had 17 points. So you take that as somebody that's in the conversation of Player of the Year, first team All-American, whatever. 17 points, 7 rebounds. You take that every time. And then Brandon Clark had been really athletic, really active for them. 15 points, 3 rebounds for him. So that's again where Luke May's rebounds came from. Clark only had 3. So and he did have 3 blocks, but none of the blocks like what we'd seen in previous games. Like in the Tennessee game, he just demolished a guy with one of his blocks. So we didn't get any of those, and just the energy level was there. The guys just looked so much better. It's just incredible. Like I said, defense looked better. Still something to watch. I don't think it was great. They helped with missing some of their shots. 3-pointers, they shot 36% in the first half, 38% in the second half, 8 for 22 overall. I think, again, you'll take that 8 for 22 and somebody shooting against North Carolina. And on top of that, we shot 13 for 25, over 50%. We were 55 shooting from the field, 52% from 3, and then 80% from the free throw line. Again, we'll take that every time. And then, we outscored them on the bench. We outscored them in offensive rebounds. We talked about already. Points and turnovers, they got us, by 14 there. So, and again, we win by 13 points. You think if we cut down on those turnovers, take away some of their points there, it could have been what you'd call a blowout. But obviously, you can say the same, as if they box out better, don't let us get the second chance points, takes points away from us. And I guess obviously that's why they say you play the game. But big time win for the Heels. Take down number 4 Gonzaga, even though it's at home. Still gives the guys confidence that we're playing with the top teams in the country. And obviously people are going to overreact here. Maybe say Gonzaga is not as good as what they looked like early. Heels are looking great, Final 4 contenders, that kind of stuff. It's probably somewhere in the middle. We're not as bad as what we said we were after Michigan and after playing not as well against some of the lower competition. We're probably not maybe as good as we looked against Gonzaga. So hopefully this isn't, and I kind of put this in the notes, is this the best game North Carolina will play all year? Hopefully not. Hopefully we keep improving. We don't want to peak early. But a lot of things have to go right. We shot the ball phenomenally. Obviously rebounded well. I shouldn't say took care of the ball well, but took advantage of our second chance points, that kind of stuff. So hopefully we don't peak. I think as we get better, I think it's just going to look different. We probably don't shoot this well, but hopefully we get a little bit more points in the paint. When a team is willing to kind of run with us, like Gonzaga was a little bit more, is a little bit more open of a game. It's like, I don't know why teams do that against North Carolina anymore. It's we see it year after year after year. Like, we take care of that so well, and we're just so much better at that than people, that it's crazy that they try that anymore. But big time win for the Tar Heels. And really the only other thing we got to talk about this week is our preview of Kentucky coming up this Saturday. It's the CBS Sports Classic. So we will play Kentucky, and then UCLA will play, I think it's Ohio State is the other team in it. They'll play Ohio State, and I guess we're the early game. We play 5:15 p.m. Eastern tip. It's obviously on CBS. It's a CBS Sports Classic game. And I'm assuming, we play at 5, and then the other game will be at 7:30, whatever Eastern. So I don't know why Kentucky, North Carolina is the early game. You'd think that They'd want that a little bit more prime time, maybe with bowls starting against football. They didn't want to go up against that. I don't know. But, yeah, it is what it is. And I don't mind it being a little bit earlier there. Get to watch it before going to mess with putting the kids to bed and stuff like that. So we'll take it. So Kentucky, they are ranked, I guess. I thought they were not ranked there, but they are ranked. They just destroyed Utah over the weekend. That was the only game. So I guess they'll move up, somewhere in the mid-teens. We should be kind of late top 10, 8, 9, somewhere in there. And I don't know. Kentucky just doesn't scare me this year. The best two teams they've played have been Duke, where they got destroyed, 34, whatever it ended up being that they lost by, on a neutral court. And then they played Seton Hall on a neutral court, ended up losing in overtime. Probably should have lost in regulation, but they hit a half-court shot with 1.5 seconds left to put it into overtime. So that's and Seton Hall isn't top 25 team. So all the rest of their games, I believe, have been at Kentucky, at Rupp, and lesser competition than that. So, they win, and like they've been expected to win. So I don't know that it says a whole lot about them, I don't even know what their record is right now. But yeah, I don't know. They just don't have the firepower. They don't look that good on defense. There's just nothing really that sticks out that much about Kentucky. And obviously, I do think, obviously, that we can lose. It's a neutral court in Chicago, so there'll probably be more Kentucky fans than North Carolina fans. But again, if we get close to what we did against Gonzaga, we should win no matter what Kentucky does. Obviously, we've seen that we don't play well. Was it Texas? Was a neutral court. We didn't play well. Obviously, they got guys that can hit three, so they could get going and make us pay from there. They do have inside guys that can make us pay a little bit. Obviously, Travis Reed from Stanford. They have PJ Washington, so they could, if we don't defend inside well, make us pay there. There's just one thing that stands out that says, hey, we're going to lose this game. They just don't have the firepower that really scares me. But obviously, we don't play up to what we just did or what we know we're capable of, or the way we should be. We definitely could lose this game. The way I went into Gonzaga was, I don't like the matchups. They've looked so good this year. Well, Kentucky has not looked that good to me. Maybe, obviously I was wrong on Gonzaga, so maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe I'll jinx this. But knock on wood, we come out and play like we did against Gonzaga. Big time atmosphere, big time team. Take it to them and get another big win for the Tar Heels. We got one at home. Let's go get another big win on the road. Well, on the road, but neutral court, away from home, at least, and beat Kentucky. Obviously, we know how we feel about Kentucky. The only time we really cheer for them is when they're playing against Duke. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should win that game. Not that it's a given. Obviously, we're always cheering for it, but I don't know. That's my 2 cents there. Would love to hear from you guys about what you guys think, how you're feeling going into Kentucky. Obviously, again, it gives us more hope the way we saw that we can play against Gonzaga. That we can beat anybody, but we also got to be consistent. We know the Tar Heels have not always been consistent with their play and from game to game. So yeah, Saturday 5:15 Eastern tip on CBS in Chicago. It's against Kentucky Wildcats. Of course, we'll be watching and cheering them on. And yeah, I do want to check to make sure. Let's see if we got any questions or comments. It doesn't look like we got questions and comments on YouTube. But before we jump into those, I did want to take our quick look around college basketball. A lot of ranked teams in some tight games, or top-ranked teams even in some tight games over the weekend. Not many upsets. I think ours was one of the few upsets, but we did have Kansas. I don't remember who they were playing. Oh, Villanova they played. Tight game, very entertaining game there. Villanova obviously looked better than they had been. It was at Kansas. They're without Azubuike, but they are number 1 ranked right now, but don't really look like it. They don't look like a top-ranked team. Let's see who else was up there that struggled. Oh, Tennessee, Memphis. Tennessee, again, coming off the big Gonzaga win, went to Memphis, played Penny Hardaway and his team, and they kept pushing the lead out. I kind of switched back and forth. It was the same time as Villanova-Kansas game. I was going back and forth, and Tennessee would be up by 15, 16 points, and they go, okay, whatever, they'll take care of business. Memphis would go on a run, get it down to 7 or 8. But every time they made that run, Tennessee would answer, and they're going to be a solid team this year. They got the upperclassmen, they got experience, got some nice players, and they just the way we don't seem consistent, they seem very consistent. So they're going to be a tough out for anybody, in the ACC and going into March Madness. But they did get pushed a little bit there. Trying to think, Nevada got pushed by San Diego State. Belmont went to UCLA and beat them. Not that UCLA has been good, but good win for Belmont. We know what that's looked like. It's been a few years for us now, but I don't know. It's shaping up to be an interesting college basketball season. Obviously, we got Nevada and Gonzaga really should almost run the table the rest of the way. Maybe 1 or 2 losses for each of them left. You got Duke, obviously, has still not played anybody. Well, yeah, anybody really, since Kentucky hasn't been as good as what we thought they'd be. Who has Duke really played? And besides Gonzaga, which they lost. So, we'll watch that and see how they do once they get going in ACC play. And then obviously Tennessee has looked good, looked consistent, like I said. Other Michigan, we know what they look like now. But there's obviously a set of teams that are above everybody else, but really we've seen that they can be taken down as well and pushed as well. So it should be an interesting March Madness. As we'll obviously learn more about teams as we get into conference play here. But as far as the podcast goes, a podcast after the Kentucky game right before Christmas. So there'll be one. Hopefully you catch it before Christmas or throughout your Christmas week. You catch that, and then I probably won't podcast again till the new year. Go through, let's see, who is it? Did we go through Harvard, Davidson? Yeah, I guess those two, and then I'll try to podcast in the new year before we start the ACC play with Pittsburgh. So only one more podcast left of 2018. It's kind of crazy. It is before Christmas that I'll probably podcast that, but if not, Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you guys have a great holiday season. But before I end this podcast, I did want to get to those question and comments on YouTube. And if you aren't subscribed on YouTube, I would encourage you to go subscribe there. It's kind of the only place you could catch this live, if that's something you'd want to do. And I don't have a set schedule, so you kind of have to turn on notifications, and you can be notified when I'm going to be podcasting, and you can catch it, and love to hear from you guys. But even if you don't listen live, love feedback from you guys. If you're not connected with me somewhere on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever it is, it's all in the description there. Even email. Love feedback from you guys, and love just talking college basketball, Tar Heel basketball with you guys. So keep that coming. I love it. But as far as the comments go here, James Laughinghouse says, say Kentucky is a bad matchup too. Keep doing it till it doesn't work anymore. It's true. Hopefully I'm not squashing it or jinxing the Tar Heels here, but I just don't see that against Kentucky. I'm trying to be honest here. I know it's hard sometimes. But Terrence Murray says, hello, Spartanburg, South Carolina in the house. Hey, Terrence, hello. Love to hear from everybody all over the country and even outside the country. I've definitely chatted up with some Tar Heels outside the country. This is a big win, but need to cut down on the bonehead unforced turnover. It's true. We had some live turnovers. We also had some just crazy, just throw it out of bounds, throw it over guys' heads, whatever turnovers as well. But Terrence also says that's a good thing. No need to play 12 guys. No one will be able to get into a rhythm. Roy just needs to stop. I think it's supposed to be stop sub. One of his flaws is subbing too much with weird lineups. It's true. People get on him, but it's also, I think it was Inside Carolina podcast. Greg Barnes on there is talking. He wants to get guys confidence early in the season. And we've seen what that's done for Luke May's career. And we've seen it, time and time with guys that other people don't expect to contribute. And they do in some big games. And he does that by getting him, when we get into ACC play, he always cuts it down. He'll still give guys chances here and there, but really your chances are the early non-conference teams. And now that we're into, we got 3 games left before ACC play, but even before Gonzaga, 4 games, and that was a big one. It was pretty much like a March Madness game or an ACC tournament game or an ACC game, whatever. And he cut back on it. And yeah, I mean, it happens every year. Rory's not going to change that. But I mean, I don't really mind it. I like that he gets guys chances. Like I said, Luke May getting those chances, freshman, sophomore year. Remember how we were talking about it? Like, why is Luke May in there? What the heck is this walk-on white dude doing in there, playing in undersized four-man, playing at North Carolina, that kind of stuff? And obviously, he proved us all wrong. Last year, and Kentucky shot. And I mean, yeah, and he's not the only. It's not like, oh, it happened to Luke. Now we got to keep doing it. It's happened before that, and obviously that's kind of the biggest example. But yeah, it's not going to change. Roy's not going to change that. And then Terrence Murray says, just for that reason is why I'm not overlooking Kentucky. They will come to play. This is their makeup game for getting smashed by Duke. It's true. I don't really think about that. And it could be their last non-conference chance. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but could be kind of their last chance to get a big win before they get into SEC. SEC play, they're going to have Auburn and Tennessee, and outside of them, like, who looks really, I guess Mississippi State's been playing well in the SEC, but they don't have a ton of chances to get great wins in the SEC play. Not that they can't get in the tournament, but if they want to get a higher seed, they're going to have to, get some of those wins. And obviously non-conference, North Carolina, neutral court would be big for them as well. So yeah, I didn't really think about that, but it is, I guess, another reason. Like I said, there'll probably be more Kentucky fans there than North Carolina, and they could be a little bit more jacked for it than us, and need it. Obviously, they're going to need it more than us. So we're definitely gonna have to match them. And in intensity is kind of where we've been inconsistent as well. As we come out really, against Gonzaga, we didn't have, the crowd was there, guys were pumped, they knew it was a big game, they came out and played with the energy and the passion. Hopefully we do that against Kentucky as well. We definitely will need to, but we're going to have to match theirs, because that is a good point. So, yeah, something to watch out for there. Maybe I don't like it as much as I was saying it again. Maybe they can scare me a little bit more than what I have been feeling. So, I don't know. That kind of wraps up our questions, comments section there. Again, if you ever want to join that, make sure you're subscribed and have the notifications on YouTube. You can catch it live and comment and stuff. Hopefully, as we get into ACC play here too, maybe even after the Kentucky game, get some guests on here, and you can listen to some other people talk besides just me. But yeah, that's really all I got for you guys this week. I hope you guys have a great holiday season, but hopefully, again, I'll talk to you before that happens. And that's all I got for this week, guys. I will see you next week. Until then, go Heels.